I used to think Christmas was just another day on the calendar, another excuse for people to close deals wrapped in red ribbons and pretend it was about love. My office on the 32nd floor looked over the city, glowing beneath a lace of snow, but I felt nothing. The company party had ended hours ago, the staff gone home to families and laughter. I stayed behind, the hum of the heater and the blinking skyline my only companions. When the clock struck midnight, I poured myself a glass of scotch and raised it to the empty room. "Merry Christmas, Charles," I muttered. My reflection in the window looked as cold as the night outside. I was a man who had everything: money, cars, penthouses, and yet nothing that truly mattered. I had lost my wife 5 years ago, and with her went the part of me that remembered how to feel. The holidays only reminded me how hollow success could sound when there was no one left to share it with. So I buried myself in work, convincing myself that solitude was strength. That evening, I told the driver to take me back to my apartment, but halfway through the route, I changed my mind. "Stop by the old bakery on 9th, I said. I didn't know why, maybe nostalgia, maybe fate. The streets were nearly empty, snow falling like soft feathers. The bakery had closed, but across the road stood a small church glowing with candlelight. On its steps sat 3 little girls bundled in mismatched scarves, huddled together beneath a flickering street lamp. They couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 triplets, it seemed, identical eyes of soft hazel, cheeks flushed from the cold. One of them clutched a small envelope in her mittened hands. "Are you lost?" I asked as I stepped closer, my breath misting in the air. They looked up, startled but not afraid. "We were waiting for Santa," one said shyly. Another added, "But we think he got busy, so we wrote him a letter." Something in me softened. I crouched to their level. "A letter? Can I see it?" The girl nodded and held it out. On the envelope, in careful, childish handwriting, were the words, "For the man who's alone on Christmas." My chest tightened. "Who told you someone was alone?" I asked, my voice quieter now. The smallest girl pointed toward the tall buildings. "Mommy says some people forget to smile because they don't have anyone to hug. She said we should remind them." I swallowed hard, staring at the simple paper in my hand. "Where's your mom?" "Inside the church," the eldest said. "She's helping with the Christmas dinner for everyone who doesn't have a home." They spoke so gently, so sincerely, that something cracked open inside me. I hadn't realized how much I'd missed the sound of kindness spoken without agenda. "Would you like a ride home after?" I asked, but they shook their heads. "We live nearby. Mommy says we walk together." They smiled, thanked me for stopping, and ran back toward the church door, leaving a trail of laughter and snowflakes. I looked down at the letter again, hesitating before opening it. Inside, written in crayon, were 3 simple lines. "Dear lonely man, we hope you have someone to talk to. If not, you can talk to us. Love, the Christmas girls." My throat tightened. I didn't remember the last time anyone had written me a letter that wasn't about contracts or money. I slipped it into my coat pocket and walked away, but the sound of their laughter echoed behind me all night. I didn't sleep that night. The letter lay on my nightstand, its childish handwriting glowing in the faint light of the city. I kept reading it over and over. "Dear lonely man, we hope you have someone to talk to." For years I'd built walls so high around my heart that even I couldn't see over them anymore. But 3 little girls with mittens and crayons had somehow climbed straight through. The next morning, snow still falling like powdered sugar over the rooftops, I drove back toward that same street. I told myself I just wanted to return the letter, but deep down I think I wanted to feel that warmth again, the one I hadn't felt in years. The church doors were open. Inside, the scent of cinnamon bread and coffee wrapped around me like a blanket. Volunteers moved about cheerfully, serving food to those who had nowhere else to go. And there she was, their mother. She was young, perhaps in her early 30s, with tired but kind eyes, hair tied back loosely, and an apron dusted with flour. She moved like someone who had known hardship but never let it harden her heart. I hesitated for a moment, watching her laugh with the guests, her 3 daughters helping to hand out cookies. "Excuse me," I said, finally stepping closer. She turned, surprised. "Yes, your daughters gave me this letter last night," I said, holding it up. Her expression softened instantly. "Oh, they did? I'm so sorry if they bothered you. They love writing little notes to strangers." I shook my head. "No. It didn't bother me. In fact, I think it saved me." She tilted her head slightly, and for a moment her eyes looked straight into mine, gentle, steady, and impossibly kind. "Would you like some coffee?" she asked. I nodded, and she poured a cup, handing it to me with a smile that felt like sunlight. We sat at one of the wooden tables near the window. "I'm Emily," she said. "You live around here?" "Charles," I replied. "And yes, I suppose I do. I run a company a few blocks away." She smiled politely. "Then I guess you're one of the busy ones." I laughed softly. "You could say that. Too busy to notice Christmas sneaking up on me." "That happens to a lot of people," she said gently, "but it's never too late to look up and see the lights again." Her words hit me harder than they should have. I looked down at my coffee, realizing how long it had been since anyone spoke to me like that, without expectation, without business beneath the surface. "You and your daughters," I said. "You spend Christmas helping others." She nodded. "We don't have much ourselves, but kindness doesn't cost anything." I stared at her, wondering how someone who had so little could give so much. "Do you have somewhere to go after this?" I asked. She hesitated. "We live in a small apartment near the old train station. The roof leaks, but it's home." I felt something twist in my chest. "Come have dinner with me," I said impulsively. She blinked. "Dinner?" "Yes," I said, smiling. "A proper Christmas dinner. My table's been too empty for too long." She laughed softly, almost nervously. "That's very kind, but please," I interrupted gently. You and your girls reminded me what this season is about. Let me return the favor. After a long pause, she nodded, eyes shining just a little. That evening, I had my driver bring them to my apartment. I'd never seen the place look so alive. The triplets ran through the hallways, giggling, pressing their small hands against the huge windows that overlooked the snowy skyline. Emily looked around, a little unsure but grateful. It's beautiful, she said quietly. It's empty, I corrected softly, but tonight maybe it won't be. We sat together at the long dining table, once used for business dinners, now filled with laughter, mashed potatoes, and Christmas lights flickering from the reflection of their smiles. One of the girls tugged at my sleeve. Mr. Charles, can we say grace? I nodded, and she closed her eyes, whispering, Thank you, God, for bringing the lonely man to us. My chest tightened as I bowed my head. When dinner was over, the girls curled up near the fireplace, whispering stories to each other. Emily watched them lovingly, then turned to me. You seem like someone who's been running for a long time, she said softly. Maybe it's time to rest. I exhaled, feeling the weight of years leaving my shoulders. I didn't realize how tired I was until now, I admitted. The silence that followed wasn't awkward, it was healing. Warm, human. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the CEO everyone admired. I just felt like a man finally coming home. When they left later that night, the youngest slipped another envelope into my hand. Open it tomorrow, she said. When morning came, sunlight filtered through the window and I opened the letter. It said, Merry Christmas, Mr. Charles. You're not alone anymore. I smiled through tears I didn't know I still had. That day, I called my assistant and canceled every meeting for the week. I went back to the church, ready to volunteer beside Emily and the girls. For once, I didn't need a boardroom or applause. I just needed to give back what they had given me, a reason to feel again. And as I handed out coffee to strangers under the winter light, I realized something simple but life-changing. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness don't just change someone's day, they save their soul.